So this will not be a fundamental research in imagery video. It's a rather a hot fix to address Harvard Medical School problem. A few days ago we explained the next move of a joint operation, a global operation of the Western world against this freedom of speech that is trying to unleash its power. It's not ours, it's everyone. Everybody is trying to make it new again. And Harvard, after having been stamped for the problem they represent, actually it started in a it's easy to see. You just have to read. Under the previous administration, the law itself had become so complex that even the resumes in the press were not understandable, and even the writers of this resume were not understanding a word of what they were writing. So if we couldn't understand these procedures of the law, it means there is a layer of complexity or layers of complexity that are too many. Simply, the principle of a good republic, you can take France as a good example here, is a bad example because they did even worse. So they add layers on layers, but it's not the turn of this country. It's about Harvard and the problem the Trump administration faces. So these layers of complexity, we know since the Middle Ages, since the antiquity, there is a tradition to hide knowledge. It's written everywhere. It's the secret, the best kept secret of the world. As every secret, it's everywhere. Everyone knows about it. And this complexity of the law is concocted into the schools of law, where the future practitioners of the law on both sides learn to speak their French, if you forgive this wordplay here. The concept of the law, we said we could take France, where the citizen is supposed not to ignore the law, is evidently accompanied by the necessity the law be not necessarily not necessarily simple, but not difficult, because otherwise to us it's not a problem. We could get a good lawyer. We never infringe any law, so anyway. But if we were taken, we could take a good lawyer to defend ourselves. We could understand and defend ourselves in person, in the court as well. So we could understand, if we wanted to get into this, we would buy the dictionary of the law and we would read it and it would be done. So the codes of the law, you have to learn if you want to be a good lawyer or a good judge. It's about the frame into which you teach this learning by heart. So there are shortcuts everywhere and you teach the principles. How many good teachers are there in the school of law? And we can tell absolutely none. Otherwise, they wouldn't accept to teach there. To teach what? The conservatism of the law. That the law remains to us, the practitioners of the law, who have made the effort to learn all this by heart, mostly at ancient times, mostly where this old God teaching, even even in the mind of the young who followed them. So, to keep their privilege of the practice of the law, because it gives power over power, and it's a way to make money, to accumulate wealth, to submit people, and so on. So there is no question as to the motive or the alibi here. And this cannot continue because it creates generations of poor and generations of stupid wealthy. And the poor are more intelligent, and the wealthy are dumb and dumberer every year. This is America you want? This is not the project of the Trump administration. It's about the restoration of something that is supposed to have been lost. When you cannot express that in the rule of the law, the right is right and the wrong is wrong, and the left is the left, it's not the same question. If you cannot express that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and to let them live freely their sexuality means not defining it by a whole bunch of talkers who are not practitioners of this law. So, you see, between the wokism, or you call it as you want, the French theory revised by the US way of not being subtle and precise enough, it was a good, interesting theory by the time of Foucault, if you will, the French theory, or Derrida, but it was 40 years ago. It's gone for 40 years now. Nothing remains of this. It then became a sociology, and after sociology, it remained a sociology. And sociology, where is it? We would like to see sociologists. That's the best formation average of raw formation to understand, to begin a research, personal research, to understand not an alternative reality, but to grasp the complexity of the various systems of the world. You know, Descartes wanted to write a system of the world. There are myriads of systems of the world. The more you know, the more you understand reality. So, if it comes down in the end to the argument by the direct president of Harvard, or that they try to alleviate anti-Semitism with the subtext, if we find some, but we don't find any. So it's really the poorest argument, and we thank the media here, which relayed. We saw it yesterday evening. We saw it a few minutes ago with having worked for nearly 12 hours, changing the configuration of the big nothing we try to do. And so after having stamped Harvard in a tweet on Reuters Legal for this problem of, we began with the two comments. So Harvard, the next move of Harvard is to present their research Harvard made. We stamped on this social network, another social network, comes back with what? Their research on suicide. And what did we predicted a few days ago? That the next move would be a giant consortium of the government. In here, it would be France, it wouldn't be the Trump's administration, that for sure, allied with the medical authorities to try and make a medical legal case. And once again, we don't infringe even the law when we are on the bike. So how? And so in the appetite and the phantasm, in the violence of the imagination of the Americans, and in this weirdness some have everywhere in the society, this appetite for for blood crime, we don't recognize ourselves at all. So, dear president of Harvard here, no, you are not doing right to the rest of the population, to your elite, your dear elite. So we come from here. You will not remove us from there or here. We come from this elite. We're coming back to, and we have a cosmology so vast you don't even realize. When you take a pom-pom, and you will make some more homophobic jokes about it after having been called bleaching black students. Yes, another was this. We made a comment we removed because it's unfair for the person who was portrayed here, for the students themselves. It's unfair for them to have to read this, but you can hear it. It was bleaching. And what does it mean to bleach? It means you have acquired a currency illegally and you try to make it legal, right? So we know in Harvard, we know the extent of the battle against racial equity. It has been since the introduction of the advantage of, of the advantageous laws that were made for the African American populations. We don't remember exactly how it was. So, from this system, which ended in complete dysfunction, why? Because of this French theory misunderstood, or what the critics of it called wokeism in the end. And so, of course, the president of Harvard is guarded against any form of any ideological penetration of his mind. You're joking or what? Look at yourself with your little bird, and your glasses, your little glasses, and you begin to say, it's a fight we cannot lose. You have already lost, and you've lost your job. Sorry, the board of Harvard should fire you and embrace this modernity we bring with, it comes along with the Trump administration. We insist this revolutionary method, which pisses off the entire world. Okay, so that we get very well. The delay, and no one knows, tariffs, no tariffs, and so on, Harvard, financing Harvard, no financing Harvard, no one knows. But this method to hold on to everything for the moment to think it over. Do you know another method which would be non-criminal to make revolutionary changes in a society? So you don't want this revolution because it cuts into your privileges too. So for the medicine, to benefit the knowledge of medicine, to transmit it from family to family, and exclusively or with access to, when we have to describe the mentality you need to have to make this type of choices, not to take the best, to take the ones with the best families or the more money to teach medicine, to teach the law. Seriously. And you call it a honest teaching and you would want us to adhere. How could we? So we come from this elite. We see how poor it is formed in reality. So the best, the best one is at the SNL. Yes, I believe it comes from, it was at Harvard, I believe. Can you cite one other pointing figure coming out of Harvard in the 10 precedent years that would have quote their name? Maybe we're not aware. So we see generations of students that are in debt to life, and the poorer they come, the more indebted to life they get out of your fantastic schools. They should rather insist on getting into several community colleges. They would learn everything. And the method how to debunk this impression, elitism, is no more. It's just it was the veil of this fundamental racism of America against its ancient slaves. This has not been thought at all. So the complexity, and you want the stakes below or the stakes above. So it's the Damocles sword over your head. Either it's not to adapt, either you play fair with the society we build, or you don't build in this society. You make your private investments, as we do. We engage completely. So if Harvard doesn't want to play, and we don't like the accent we have here, it's an angry motion, an angry teacher's motion. We would like teachers to react more, to say what they think of the way they teach and what it makes to students afterwards in their life. Are they really happy people, the Americans, who are so much indebted to learn basic knowledge such as the law, medicine, or coding, or whatever tomorrow? So this will be enough for Harvard, maybe, and we'll see.